It's Monday, it's spring, and I just booked my swimming lessons. I'm resuming next week.
Oh, very nice, very nice. I'm doing the same for Bella. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, actually, maybe you, baby Bella, and myself have the same swimming teacher. Who knows?
Maybe. Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that because it just so happens, David, that our guest today on the show, let me let her tell you about herself because today we have the very lovely Miss Kim Dempsey, and she's the director over at Aquatics Vision. Kim, thank you so much for being on the show. Can you tell us and our viewers a little bit about yourself and what you do over at Aquatics Vision?
Thank you so much for having me on today. I feel like I'm on the Oprah part of our industry here. You guys are so popular. Thanks for having me. I used to teach swim lessons, but that's not what I'm here to talk about.
All right, so what are we talking about today?
So, Aquatics Vision is basically water quality control systems. So, technology has made so many advances in our industry just because of COVID has really forced us to make a leap forward with technology. And basically, what I do is I am the director of Aquatics Vision, and Aquatics Vision is a partnered program that allows a water quality control system called Aquatics Vision to help pool companies and give knowledge and make pools safer for people who are using them and people who are operating them.
So, I have so many questions. Vision has nothing to do with seeing underwater, as I take it, but it has to do with maybe seeing through the water in some sort of ways. What exactly are water quality control systems that you mentioned?
So, great question. Water quality control system basically give the opportunity for chemicals to be fed automatically into the system. So, there are a lot of water quality control systems on the market, but a lot of them are antiquated. They're old. They don't have the newest technology. And what they do is they use sensors right inside your pool water, inside your filtration system, and they read the pH and the chlorine in your water, and they automatically dose those chemicals. It's not like it used to be back in our day when Baywatch was really popular and everybody wanted to be a lifeguard. Lifeguards are expensive, minimum wage has gone up, and lifeguards are not as easily and readily available to work. So a lot of associations, because they can, have moved over to using either no lifeguards or an attendant, and they need somebody to be able to maintain the chemicals. And it's not logical, especially in the state of New Jersey, and there's a lot of other states out there that require either hourly or bi-hourly testing. It's not logical to pay a company to stop by every 2 hours. So you either need an attendant or a lifeguard. Water quality control systems in most states are recognized by the health department and allow communities the capability of only having to test and record the water twice a day instead of every 2 hours.
No kidding. You know, it's funny. So first of all, Baywatch, yes, best show ever created. I'm a fan myself. I really am. And David, little known fact, I used to work on swimming pools, and this stuff was not around, right? So this was basically, the pool guy has to show up. He's got to test the water. So this stuff it's really fascinating. How long have these types of systems been around? Because back in my day, we barely had a chlorinator, which had a little dial on it. That was the only piece of automatic equipment that we had for maintaining chemical levels. So how long have these types of systems been around?
Well, to be honest, these types of systems have been around for a couple decades now. But when I first started working in pools over 20 years ago, they were just reading and monitoring the water. And there were a lot of things like overfeeds that can happen. There were not a lot of precautions. Alerts would go off, but unless you were on site, you really couldn't get the alerts, or you had to sign into a really old dashboard to get the alerts. Now, with the technology, things have advanced so much where some, not all, but some water quality control systems can do certain things like backwash your system when you're not on site. They can control your pump. So if you have an electrical outage, you could just go onto the app and restart your system. There are very many different grades of water quality control systems on the market, but Aquatics Vision specifically brings one thing to the table that not a lot of other water quality control systems brings to the table, which is free available chlorine. If you know anything about water, when you test your chlorine, it comes out in parts per million. Now, a lot of water quality control systems on the market will read you in ORP, which is oxidation reduction potential, and health departments, they want to see that ppm.
So that means that you need the system to do it for you, because you're not going to sit down by the pool side with a calculator.
Well, there is a correlation chart that health departments will accept, but it's not a true correlation. Or you need somebody to take a hand test. And when you take a hand test, it comes out in parts per million.
What would be the main driver for communities to start implementing this type of system?
Well, a lot of communities that are not going to be utilizing lifeguards is a great first impression to use, because this will be able to test the water 24/7. So when you have have a pool management or a pool maintenance company that is servicing your pool facility, whether there be a lifeguard on site or whether the service company is coming twice or 3 times a week, you're really only managing your water about 5 to 15% of the time. More with a lifeguard or an attendant, but less if you're only using a service company. So either 5 to 15% of the time, your water is being managed, which means you only know if there's good chlorine in the water and it's safe for swimming 5 to 15% of the time. With a water quality control system, especially like Aquatics Vision, 100% of the time, you know if that water is safe for people to swim in. And at the end of the day, that's what we really want to make sure is that the people that are using our pool are not going to get sick from using the pool.
Now, I'm glad you brought up safety because it's a big concern around swimming pools. People get nervous about that. So is this system, can it be utilized to help prevent accidents, or is that not a thing?
So chemical accidents, yes. And our system does have the capability to add a video camera to it if you want, so you can see what's going on in the pump room and the pump area. But this is more around chemical safety, and it's chemical safety for the operators and it's chemical safety for the users. There was a situation with a pool in South Carolina where they didn't know that the chemicals were out of parameter and the chemicals were too high, and an infant or a young child got hurt and had to go to the hospital, got chemical burns. If they were using a water quality control system, they would have been able to know that the chemicals were out of parameter and could have done something about it, prevented people from swimming. So there's that one aspect where you can get chemical injuries if the chemicals are too high. And on the other end, if their chemicals are not high enough, you have waterborne illnesses in the water where you can get, stomach problems, respiratory issues, and you could get sick from the water because the bacteria in the water is not being killed.
I am not the chemical guy, but how does this whole thing works?
So it works with any filtration system. So whether you have sand, DE, cartridge, whether you have liquid chlorine, tablet chlorine, salt, this system works with it all. And it goes on your existing equipment. As long as you have a regular GFI outlet in your pump room, you plug it right in and the sensors go into your existing filtration system. There may be minor things that you have. So if you're using liquid chlorine, you may need an acid pump to feed the acid. Or if you're using tablet chlorine, you may need a solenoid. But that's it. The system works as is with your current filtration system with very little modification.
So it's all connected inside the pump room, so you don't really see it, the folks outside. It's not like you have like some apparatus on the side of the pool or anything like that.
Correct. It's all inside the pump room, but then whoever needs access to it. So let's say, for example, you're using a pool management company or the property management company, the property manager, or the board members, they can all have access to the dash and they can see in real time what is going on with the pool, what the chlorine is, what the pH is, what the temperature of the water is.
That's pretty cool because like I know communities, a client of mine is the I think it's the community manager or her assistant that go every so often to go and check the pool, which sucks up time. So, I mean, that's a good way to actually take care of that.
I can't imagine that there's a one size fits all type of thing, but can you maybe just give us an idea of what a cost for something this might be?
Yep. And you're absolutely right. It depends on what it is that the community needs or is looking for. If they're just looking to read basic chlorine and pH, it could be as little as about $200 to $250 a month. But if they're looking to add cameras on, if they're looking to add gate access, it can go all the way up to $100 or $450 a month. We do a lease program and we feel that it's better because, as you guys know, technology is always changing.
Watching that camera in the pump room has to be riveting.
Well, Kim, thank you so much for sharing with us all the stuff about how you can actually better the community through your services. I mean, who would have really thought is you can cut the costs and you can make it safer all at the same time. But now on the show, we usually like to give our guests an opportunity to give a shout out, to recognize somebody, or it could even be a charity or a mentor, somebody who's helped you along your journey in your career. Do you have anybody in mind that you'd like to recognize?
Oh my goodness, there's so many people along the course of my life that I've interacted with. The pool industry in general has supplied tons of people and tons of education. American Red Cross is a great organization that I've worked with. So they give out a lot of education, a lot of certification. So I hold an instructor certification as a CPO, and I also hold an instructor and a lifeguarding and a lifeguard instructor trainer certification for the American Red Cross. So the information that they put out in the industry really helps people like myself and other pool management companies to educate everyone in our industry so that we make our pools safer to be around and be in and enjoy.
So thank you very much, Kim, for joining us, taking a deep dive into the world of Community Association Pool. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. And in the meantime, we wish you all a happy pool season and a happy rest of your week.